Speaking of elite running back production, though, Colin does, tomorrow's headlines today and future headlines. It's called one of those two things. Call this like a December headline. Saquon Barkley pacing for best 2-year stretch for a running back in NFL history. It's a wordy headline. I'll have to work on it. But Saquon Barkley is an interesting case study because he has both said that he wants to be one of the best players to ever do it and that Barry Sanders is his favorite ever, and that when he retires, he might just walk away without much fanfare, and there's no guarantee how long he'll play. And I know he's walked back that a little bit. Like, I don't think Saquon Barkley is a year or even 2 years away from retirement, but there's no guarantee that he's going to play forever. And if Saquon Barkley retired tomorrow, he would not be in the Hall of Fame. To be a player who does not play very long and makes it to the Hall of Fame, you've got to stack a really incredible resume in a really short period of time. And Saquon Barkley is pretty close. Like, he would be a finalist, he would be considered, he would be debated. He had last season, he's one of 9 guys to ever have a 2,000-yard season. He had the most rushing yards ever when you combine regular season and postseason. And he had over 2,800 yards from scrimmage. But I think Saquon Barkley is uniquely positioned to have the best 2-year stretch for a running back ever, which currently is Eric Dickerson. Saquon Barkley would need 1,909 yards this year to break Eric Dickerson's 2-year record. And you look at the guys on that list, most rushing yards in a 2-year span: Barry Sanders, Earl Campbell, Terrell Davis, Eric Dickerson, all Hall of Famers. It's consistent excellence. Even though Terrell Davis was only 7 years, he had multiple Super Bowls, he had a Super Bowl MVP, he had an MVP award. Barry Sanders, obviously one of the greatest to ever do it. Earl Campbell and Eric Dickerson, the same. No players even had back-to-back 1,800-yard seasons. Normally off a 2,000-yard season, Chris Johnson had a solid, I think, 1,300-yard campaign. Derrick Henry was having the best post-2,000-yard season, but he got hurt after just 8 games. A lot of guys get hurt. And Saquon Barkley has an injury history. He's coming off of a career high in carries by far. He had nearly 350 carries last season. And he's got to deal with the Madden curse, for whatever you believe in that, which I don't, but, it's out there. But the other piece of it is, why I'd be bullish on it, is he is uniquely positioned to follow up a historically great campaign with another historically great campaign. Because in an era of passing football, the Eagles are a bit of a throwback. Right, this is the passing era of the NFL. It's never been, completion percentage has never been higher, passing yards never been higher, all that stuff. But the Eagles, we don't want our quarterback to throw it 30 times. We have the best offensive line. Our quarterback really helps the running game, and we are going to pound the rock. And if you look at Saquon last year, he had a game against Tampa where he had 10 carries. Remember the game against the Giants where he could have set his record for a game and he just sat out and didn't play anymore? And then he obviously sat out Week 18. He barely creeped over 2,000 yards in the regular season last year, and he could have shattered it. So I actually felt like there was room. Obviously there was, he didn't play Week 18, but even in the course of the season, there was room for him to have a better year because he is so uniquely gifted, and they are so dominant as a running team in an era where teams are putting an extra cornerback on the field. It's easier to run in the passing era because of how defenses are aligned to stop the pass. I think Saquon Barkley is going to break Eric Dickerson's 2-year record. I think he's got a shot at the first ever at back-to-back 2,000-yard seasons. And I think the greatest 2-year stretch in NFL history for a running back, I think that record falls. And it's something we'll be talking about throughout the month of December. Coming up, Tom Verducci will join us to explain how the hell the Brewers are doing what they're doing, which really upsets this Cubs fan. But coming up next, we're calling Colin Cowherd. He won't answer. But why Colin has been very wrong to doubt Caleb Williams. Next, The Herd. I thought Jackson Dart looked good and has continued to look good in the preseason. And the Giants are they're in a very interesting spot to me because Jackson Dart looks ready to my untrained eye. Right? He looks ready. I don't think he looks like a superstar. I thought, He had one touchdown drive out of the 4 that he played. He took a big shot, got tested for the concussion. A lot of the production was on yards after the catch. The touchdown throw was pretty nice. 370 yards in the preseason, 3 touchdowns. He's taken shots down the field. Jackson Dart has looked unafraid. He's looked mobile. He's looked athletic, looked like the arm strength certainly translates, all of those things. The Giants bring in Jameis and Russ. They've got a GM and a coach that seem to be on the hot seat. They have one of the best front sevens, you would say, in the entire NFL. Their defense, I think, has a legit shot at being top 5. In order to be top 5, they're probably going to need their offense to be okay so that they're not on the field the whole damn game. But the problem for the Giants is going to be, do they get that itch? Do they get impatient? Because I think Russ, with his experience, does give the Giants the best chance very early in the season. Problem is, very early in the season is very difficult. The Giants' schedule is ridiculous. It is just a murderer's row. And I know on paper, and it's not who you play, but when you play them, and who knows what the injuries are going to end up being. But I think there's going to be a huge push to play Jackson Dart week 5 against New Orleans when the Giants start 0-4. They start in Washington, in Dallas, home against the Chiefs, home against the Chargers. Could you win one of those games? Sure. If you've got a top 5 defense, you can win games 19-17. You can grind out some ugly wins. But then after that Saints game, Philly, Denver, Philly again, San Francisco, the Bears, the Packers, the Lions. Like, through week 12, they easily could be 2-10. And then there's going to be that pressure to play Jackson Dart. And this isn't the best comparison, but it's pretty close. When the Bears drafted Mitch Trubisky, their plan was to sit him for a year. Even though he was they traded up 3-2. They took Mitch Trubisky in that draft, famously ahead of Patrick Mahomes. But the plan was to sit him. They gave Mike Glennon $18 million to be a starter for a year. Through 4 games, Mike Glennon led the NFL in turnovers. And because John Fox was on the hot seat, they panicked and they played Mitch Trubisky. And it didn't matter. Fox ended up getting fired. And it didn't matter because they ended up stunting and confusing the development of Mitch Trubisky, who needed to then learn a new system and a whole new thing the next year when they brought in Matt Nagy. So if Jackson Dart is ready, you play Jackson Dart because he's ready, not because you need a spark, not because you have a bad win-loss record. Jackson Dart should play when he's ready. Whether the Giants are 2-10 or 10-2, 4-7, 7-4, winless or undefeated, Jackson Dart's development matters more than any win-loss record or accomplishment that the New York Giants can have this year. So they need to resist the urge, and Brian Daboll needs to resist the urge to say, uh-oh, the schedule was brutal. Russell Wilson was throwing moonballs. Russell Wilson was taking sacks. Jameis Winston was eating W's. And we've got to lose the record. I need to show that I'm the right guy for Jackson Dart in order for me to keep my job. If Jackson Dart is genuinely ready to play, great. But I'd be concerned if I was a Giants fan, because right now you kind of backed into a good spot. You drafted the best player available in Abdul Carter. You traded back into the first round for Jackson Dart. He looks good, but you know your team's not going to be that good right now. And so you thought you were going to try to get Matt Stafford, even though that was always pie in the sky. And now here you are, like, okay, we got a good young nucleus. We got a quarterback that we're excited about, and we just don't really know about our coach and our general manager. Play the season out, clean house, go get your best bets. But if Daboll, who helps Josh Allen, helps Jackson Dart, then you're good to go and you're off and running. The whole key is going to be an honest evaluation. Is he ready? Not does he give us the best chance to win, not is it pressure to save the job, not is the back page of the New York Post. Is Jackson Dart actually ready to play? My eyes, he looks ready. My guess is Russ for week 1 gives you a better shot, but Jackson Dart looks ready to me. But you can't make a decision to play Jackson Dart based on saving Brian Dable's job. That will stunt Jackson Dart's development and do way more harm than good. Coming up next, a little bit of running back news in the NFL. Plus, Saquon Barkley has a shot at history this year. Call this a future headline for December.